This is my consignee, a little bit unusual, you know. And I said, I don't want to go inside. I'll cut my tires. And the guy says, no, you gotta go inside. And I said, do you think I'll make that corner over there where the yellow rock is? And there was a skid. Right to the right, there was a skid. And of course, these guys have, you know, they have all kinds of machinery in here. He says, just park here, because before I was sitting in front of the scale, and that's how they all like enter. So like this guy over here that's backing out, he just brought a car. There was a car with no wheels on the back of his little funny trailer, and I wanted to tell him that it's a Chevy, right? So, but they did accept it. So they did accept it, but everybody has to go through the scale. I think it has a radiation gauge in there. You know, basically you go loaded, like when you're. Because it's a public thing, right? So if you have some metal lying somewhere around, so you bring it over here, they scale you, then you go unload, and then you back out, and they scale you again. So this way they know how much stuff you left in there, and then they pay you. You go in the office, and they pay you. And the crane is supposed to be here at 8. Like my appointment is at 8, but I only saw the pickup truck, and actually it's that big company that I hauled for before. But there's always, you know, crane companies, when they tell you that the appointment is for 8, that means that they want you to be there at 8. And then of course the crane, okay, the crane will be here probably at 8, but it cannot just grab the stuff and unload, right? It'll take like half an hour, 45 minutes, like based on my experience, because the crane will usually come with a couple of other trucks. You know, if it's like an automotive crane, like on wheels, big crane, there'll be a couple of trucks with multi-axle flatbed trailers, or just one truck, and it'll have extra counterweights, it'll have supplies, you know, whatever the crane needs. And so it takes them what they call set up, right? The crane has to set up, like get it ready to hoist, right? And that takes time. And now, for now, I only see the pickup truck. I don't see the crane. And by the time they lift it, it's going to be 9 o'clock, right? But that's the nature of the beast. That's why I think when I retire, I'm going to buy a crane. Or maybe one of these machines, you know. I never heard of this name, this Senebogen, but it's so cool because the guy actually, the operator's cab has hydraulic lift. You know, the guy went in, and then he lifted his cab. Like his cab can go up and down. You know, like usually it sits much lower. And then I saw he was moving, and because the heap he started working on, you see what he did? Like in 5 minutes, that heap was the size of this one. And so like 5 minutes of work, and I guess he has an electric magnet in there, and plus he grabs it, and now that heap is gone. And I think what they're doing is they're preparing the room for me and for the crane, you know, because they said I have to go like this and then back. And I told them, I said, guys, I'm 80 feet long, so I need a lot of room. And that guy's welding something there. Probably there's a hole in the trailer on these welding. So this is the real money, you know. Like it doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you, this is all this precious metal. And actually, yeah, one thing that eased my mind about nails is that they don't, like the sign up front says, they don't accept, and there's a list of materials, and one of them is wood. So they don't accept pallets, right? And that's the worst That's why you always see like nails at truck stops, and you see nails on the shoulder. You know why? Because of construction, guys. You know, when they repair the road, or they repair a bridge, like, where, you know, you ever wonder where do all these nails come from on roads? Like, is somebody just driving around, some guy who has a stock in a tire company, and he just sprays the nails on the floor? I don't think so. It all comes from broken skids, you know. And so at construction, when they have that's my theory. Take it or leave it. But when they do construction on the road, so they bring stuff like, and I see them, you know, I'm driving in a construction zone, I see like a huge bunch of skids with some pipe, you know, whatever they need there. They're skids. And then of course, you know, these guys, they have all these big machinery, so they run over them, they break them, and the skids have nails, right? And so that's how nails got on the side of the road, you know. And usually, and like I mentioned, I already have 2 nails in my, for some reason, in my driver's side tire. Normally, if you get nails on your tires, it's the trailer tire, and it's on this side, on the passenger side, where you hit the shoulder, you know. So I was really surprised that I saw 2 heads of small nails inside my tire on the drive side, but I kept an eye on it. It wasn't leaking. But I'm gonna go today, I'm gonna go to my favorite Cal Tire. You guys are the best. Cal Tire, and ask them to remove them. And of course, once they remove them, it'll start leaking. But so I want them to take the tire off and fix it from inside. And usually these guys don't even charge you. You know, their rule is, if the tire can be fixed, they do it for free. I'm not sure how that business model works for the accounting department, but I like it. So anyway, so now that heap is gone, right? And I guess that's the place where they want. Oh, I see now. You see the guy over there, like, hold on, let me just increase the zoom. And that's, I'm sorry guys, that's what sometimes I do, you see, because my camera has actually my phone has 2 cameras, and there's 2 icons on the top of my screen. So I can choose this camera, this angle, or I can click, look, and it becomes this. It's like much further away, right? And what happens is that sometimes when you see only, when I'm filming myself, you see only like a part of the ear or my handsome beard. That's what happens, because I forget to switch the angle. And so yeah, now I remember one guy was really angry about this, and he says, Sergey, come on, please use the wide angle. And so yeah, so when I'm filming myself now, I'm gonna do like this, right? Like, that's the wide angle. But if you can see, what I'm trying to point is that there's some skids with something over there, and there's a concrete pad right in the center of the frame, and there's a guy working with a broom. You see, they already have concrete in there. Hold on, let me switch back to wide angle so that I don't anger you guys anymore. And honestly, I don't care one way or the other too much, because you cannot have a thin skin on YouTube, right? But I try my best, you know. Just sometimes I forget to change that angle, you know, in the spur of the moment. Now here's a typical truck that does what an ugly beast, you know. This is an International, and so it has so lift axle and 2 tires. It's one of those that's what they usually use for recycling, you know. This guy has a body. Actually, it's in the mirror over there, but you cannot probably see, it's too far. Hold on. Yeah, there's like a body, kind of like a trailer with no wheels, right? So this guy drags it on the top. It's right in the mirror there. He drags it on the top of his truck with a cable, and then secures it, and that's it. And one of them is actually sits there in the very back. Yeah, I guess what they do is Yeah, it's something like this. Like the guy is working on the floor there. You see, that's a container. Kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like a container with an open top, and it has special rails. It has special rails, and so it has like a big eye in the front, and so this guy backs to it. He unspools his cable, massive cable, and he hooks the cable to the front of the trailer, and he drags it on. And I can tell you one thing about these trucks is that they often get into trouble, you know. Like over the past, ever since I started driving, I probably saw 3 or 5 of these trucks in accidents. Because what happens is that the rails are very narrow under that, you know, bin. And these guys, there's just a cable in the front, right? And then like they have like tiny chain in the back on each side because they're supposed to lock it, right? But they can push in a lot of material, you know, and it becomes top heavy. And once I saw a guy overturn completely. He overturned because this thing went sideways and it flipped the entire truck. You know, there was so much weight inside that bin. And then another time I saw it, I guess the guy was trying to bypass somebody who was turning on the road, and he went slightly in the ditch on the shoulder, and the truck tilted, and this thing tilted, and it was sitting crooked, and so a cop stopped him because you cannot drive like that because it can fall off like at any second. So they're always in trouble, you know, these guys, because they're too heavy, you know, and it's just not stable, like very risky. So if you drive a car and you see a recycling truck like that, you know, one advice that can save your butt is stay away. Stay away from these guys when they're loaded. And also don't follow too close, because they don't put, most of the time they don't put any tarps or anything on the top, and so stuff can fall off, fly at your windshield, you know. Piece of metal can fall down and then you run over it, that's it, your tires are gone. So anyway, that's just a few tips for the unsuspecting public. All right, so something is happening, but I'm not sure what. But yeah, looks like that guy is still with the broom. He's still cleaning everything up. So, but yeah, so that's why I started saying, that's why I feel better, because they don't accept wood, right? So there's no broken skids. There shouldn't be any nails. So the only thing that can be in there is sharp pieces of metal, you know. And I spent the night just as I wanted. I spent the night at exit 266 on 94. Nice place, you know, that Marathon Gas. I've been there many times. I like that there's a Meijer across the street, you know, good food, you know, like groceries, you know, and then on the way to the border, I went through pay the toll. Like, I like that this on the US side, they don't charge you when you're like oversized or overweight, you know, you pay the same, just depending on your, oh, the crane is finally here. It's in my mirror over there. You see blinking light? It's a big crane. We'll go talk to them. Time now is 8:04. And I have 8 o'clock appointment. Okay, you see what happens now? That's what I didn't change the angle. Hold on. Okay, how about now? You see how wide it is, and that's what happens. So again, I apologize, but so the crane is here, so things are happening. So now they only need like an hour to set it up, and we're good. But one thing I wanted to mention is that when it's a multiple shipment, and that's what it is, there's moving this thing took 3 trucks. 3. I'm the guy that they probably were waiting for most, because I'm what they call the main body of this compactor, and it can probably work without the other two guys, but actually no, there's still part on the front that connects like a chamber. And actually I haven't seen anything else, you know. I haven't seen any parts lying around, but I had to go in the customs because it's manual clearance, and that's always happens when it's a multiple shipment, like 3 trucks, but the customs invoice states the amount for the entire load, right? Like the cost of goods imported. Like we don't have each an invoice for our little load, but there's only one invoice, right? And because of that, we all have to cross in the same place, and you have to park the truck and go inside. Like they cannot just stamp it at the booth like, you know, they usually do. And so I told the customs officer, I said, this is manual clearance. He says, you know where to go? I said, yes sir, 3rd floor, main building, my broker. And the broker had like a stack of documents, and she says, oh, you're the last one. I said, really? I said, and I woke up at like 5:15, started driving at 6. It was 10 miles to the border. I was inside the office at like 6:45, inside the broker's office. And she says the 2 other guys already crossed, but I don't know where they are at. But I was here at 7:30, sent the email to the broker, freight broker, said arrived at consignee. And when I crossed the border, I said released by Canadian Customs. That's what, you know, they always like to see, that, you know, you're not delayed. So I said released by Canadian Customs, heading to the consignee. ETA is 7:30, and I'm here at 7:30. I sent him another email. Arrived at consignee, Sergei. That's it. So that's what freight brokers like. Brokers like communication, when you tell them what the heck is happening, right? Especially when you're delayed. And so yeah, let's see. I'm not sure if I can film unloading, you know, because it is a private property. So now I'm filming inside the truck, which should be okay, but I don't want, and it's raining now, like very nasty weather, you know. But anyway, I like this load, you know. It was so much easier than the previous one, and paid the same amount of money, like unbelievable. And to give you an idea, I got a bill yesterday with that big excavator. I got a bill from my permit service company. I owed them $1,500 US for the permits. New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, North Carolina, $1,500 US. Plus I paid $100 Canadian, 80 US at the bridge to cross the bridge. And then I paid $250 all US for New York escort. Pennsylvania no escort. I paid $250 for West Virginia, and then $150 to the lady that took me part of the way, and then the last one was $200 to a guy that took me to the final destination. I could have saved some money there if I waited a bit more, because my permits were not ready, but still. So $1,500 for the permits and about $850 for the escorts. Okay, so now the crane is in. At first they said that I would have to move because the crane is too heavy to go on the scale next to me. So they said I should pull forward to make room for the crane. But then they decided to let it go. So the crane went on the scale survived. And the next that, like I said, that multi-axle flatbed guy came in. So 3-axle truck, Western Star, 36-inch flat top sleeper, super comfortable for long drives. And the trailer has Tridem, and then it has a pusher axle in the front, and one, I guess they call it a tag, in the very back, like steerable lift axle in the back and steerable lift axle in the front. So total of 5 axles. Like that's a massive, you know, trailer. It can take lots of weight. And I was right, you see, the guy brought counterweights, because otherwise they don't allow it to be on the crane when it's driving. And they brought some platforms over there, something, I don't know, because the guy has to put those support legs, and it's all dirt. But I was glad this guy came in first, and so if there's any nails, he collected them. So no, but I saw this Nibogan, whatever it's called, guy. I saw he was doing a very interesting thing. He was moving his magnet very close to the ground, like in a long arc, you know. And the crane guy was looking like, what the heck is this guy doing? And I knew that right away that this guy was actually being a good person. Thank you very much. And he was trying to see if there's any metal in the ground, you know, because that's a very strong magnet. And he was kind of like demining the field, you know. And he went like this, then he moved forward, and so all that area should be pretty safe now for tires, because, you know, like, I got so many tires, you know, it's expensive. Like one tire is probably what, like $500, you know, Canadian, unless I get some cheap Chinese tires or Korean tires. But we're getting there. And yeah, in other news, I get tired of constant advice on how I should do my job, that, for the record, I've been doing since 2005. So since 2005, I was a company driver. I got my bright yellow international in April 2007, and I became an owner operator and started pulling dry vans. And then in the summer of 2007, I received training for flatbed trailers. It was like a 3-day hands-on training. And starting from summer 2007, 11 years ago, I've been doing flatbed and step deck. And then I got my first step deck, but that's how long I've been tying things down and working with chains and straps. And then when I worked for Landstar, my last trailer was 3-axle step deck, so I did some heavy stuff. And then and actually that was like last but one. And then the last trailer was the Kaufman, right? And so that was August 2014 when I switched 100% to this kind of trailer. So I became an RGN rig operator. And so I know a little bit about this job, okay? And it's just frustrating. Each time you open Facebook or you open YouTube, all you see is you should buy. Usually we do it like this, you know. I don't need this aggravation, you know. My job is stressful as it is. So no more Facebook. Facebook is deactivated. YouTube might be next, but for now I'm using approved comments. And here's the plan. So the plan is all comments go into kind of like spam folder, right? And once every couple of days when I have time, I go in there and I pick up the first comment I like. Hey Sergey, cool video. Click approve. All other comments will be deleted, okay? Because I cannot sort through like 500 comments, right, to decide which one I can approve. So again, I go from top, look at the first comment, good, bad. Okay, if it's bad, go to the next one. As soon as I find a good comment, it's approved. Everything else is deleted. So I understand you guys like my videos, and then I understand there's a bunch of guys that don't like my videos, don't watch them. And speaking about like and dislike, yesterday I was sitting in the truck and my windows were open, and I hear Sergey, are you in? I pop my head out, and some guy says, oh, I saw from your video that you're stopping here. I just live 4 miles down the road. I just want to shake your hand and, you know, say hi. You know, very cool. Some guy he said he used to drive a straight truck, and now he's retired and he's watching, you know, my videos. Very cool. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you for watching. Okay, I guess we're getting closer. The guy took 2 chains off over there. Now the counterweights are still chained. Yeah, and I see there's no counterweights in the back of the crane. So yeah, it cannot work like this, right? But we're getting there. So give it another hour and we should be good to go. And of course, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna take my time untying my stuff. I'm not gonna rush. I got like what, 11 chains on it. I cannot take it off now because the ground is all uneven. You know, I was thinking of, you know, like usually right before they unload you, if you are sitting still or you have to drive only in a straight line, you basically take off, you know, most of the chains to make it quicker so that the guys don't wait for you. But here it's kind of like dangerous because I have to go forward and go back, you know, and this thing is top heavy, and with that big tail in the back I have to keep all the chains on. Well, and in other news, I don't see the second truck, but I see the first one. Or maybe, yeah, I was truck number 1. I see the truck with the parts for this machine. And he has a cab on the very back. He has a bunch of green pipes, the same color as my machine. And what's cool is that he has a cab, you know, like kind of like the same cab they use with like an excavator, only like a much smaller one. And I'm pretty sure it's for this, for the operator of this machine. So I guess we're all here. I don't know where's the other guy. Like there's supposed to be truck number 3, but like the customs lady said that they crossed. So I guess I cannot see him because there's a curve in there. And so we're all here. Now we just need the crane to set up, and then we can unload. And then Captain Sergei will drive over. That's the first priority. Like my PTO is hardly working now. Like the leak is so big, there's hardly any pressure. I just started the PTO and I lifted pretty much to like position 4, like the maximum height of the gooseneck, because, you know, when I start backing, right, I don't want the gooseneck to hit my fenders again, because I will have to lift my axle, and plus the ground is soft a little bit over there, right? So I need to create lots of height. And so I looked at the cylinders, and they were moving like this, you know, like 1 millimeter a second, very, very slow. So there's not enough pressure. And so thing number 1 I'm doing is, I already booked this. I'm going to the Aberfoyle, actually, where the yard is for this crane company, right across the street from them. There's that shop that installed the PTO. So they're gonna fix the PTO, they're gonna fix the leak, and I'm gonna ask them about the cylinders, if they can put those washers in, you know. And then thing number 2, tomorrow, Wednesday, I already have an appointment in the morning. I'm going to Kenworth. They're replacing the lights. They're gonna give me LED lights, and also I'm changing the fuel filters. And I'm gonna ask them about the suspension, because each time I'm under load, I'm losing most of the pressure on the truck suspension. I thought it was trailer. No, a truck suspension, and I did a video about this. I might show it at the end, but you can clearly see from this video, like when I start the truck in the morning, that there is a bunch of pressure on the pusher axle, but there's half of the pressure is gone from the suspension, from the truck suspension, right? And it starts beeping, low pressure. It's a leak somewhere, so they will have to check that. And also one last thing, again, very important, I don't know why this suspension goes down so badly when I'm trying to reverse with a load and when I lift the pusher axle. I never had this problem on the Mac, even though they're both the same, 46,000 pounds. I don't know why this has to go down so bad. Like, maybe the airbags, like, I want to ask them to check, you know, maybe the settings, maybe the way they set it up from the plant, maybe the right height, I don't know. But if they can fix it, and then of course a couple of things, like I said, I want them to activate my Jake brake so it applies automatically. They have to do it through programming. When I'm cruising, I want it to be applied automatically like 5 or 6 miles above the speed limit, about the cruising speed. And I guess that's it. What else I'm doing? And then, oh yeah, and then I'm going to Cal Tire probably today. I'm going to Cal Tire today to get those nails out and fix the tires. And actually after this, I'll ask him to check all tires and check all pressures, right? A couple of small things to finish. First of all, I fixed my PTO. Just went to the place, and the guy found that the hose did not sit, properly. I guess it was kind of like a bit at an angle, and the clamp could not clamp all the way down. And so the guy, and also the clamp, he says the clamp might have been bad. They all like made in China. And so he took off the clamp and reset the hose on that receptacle and put a new clamp in, and we did a test. We ran the PTO for like 5 minutes, and the guy climbed underneath on his little crawler, and because before, after he finished, he wiped everything so it was dry, and so now he was able to see that nothing is leaking. So they didn't charge me any money, so I hope it was that's the problem. But I'm pretty sure it was, like if the hose was not properly pushed in, and then the clamp could not provide enough pressure because of that, and so now he redid it, and basically it was the same. Oh, and the same guy. So the manager gave me the same guy who did this job originally. I guess maybe kind of as a punishment to the guy. But they both were very helpful, and they said, yeah, we just want to get it right, so don't worry about it. And so I dropped the trailer, and they told me where to go. It was pretty cool. That's number one thing that I want to add. Thing number two, that I went to the restaurant after this, and tomorrow my plans are to fix the truck, right? I gotta install the LED lights and change fuel filters and ask him about the suspension, why it goes down so bad when I lift the pusher. Anyway, so I want to devote tomorrow most of the day to my truck, and so I went, so I don't want to book a load, right? But I went to this Indian restaurant, and I was waiting on my food, and I decided to check the load board. And there's a pretty heavy load, paying good money, just like a short run, like a 1-day run. And it's the same company I worked with before. So I called them, I said, guys, what's going on? I see you have an interesting load over here. Except it said the pickup was tomorrow, Wednesday, And so I called them and asked them about this load, and also I said, can I pick it up Thursday? And we exchanged details because she sent me a picture, and I wanted to make sure that it's going to work on my trailer. Basically, it's a tracked machine, like a machine on tracks. Kind of like an excavator, except it doesn't have a bucket and the boom is different. It's for a different purpose, but very cool, You guys are gonna love it. And so I just saw, before I started recording this video, I just saw an email. I got my rate confirmation, so we are ready to go. I just hope that it'll work on my trailer, but all I gotta do, so Thursday is in the morning, drive to Toronto and pick it up, and it goes to just across the border to New York. And my gross weight might be a problem, but again, it's only New York. For this load, I agreed again because I might be a super load, but at least in this case, it's only one state. One state, okay? And thing number three I wanted to mention is that normally I don't go to, not normally, but I don't go to doctors, period, right? So, I just don't trust them. People die in emergency rooms on Sundays. How they say never go to your emergency room on the weekend, there's statistics about that. Anyway, but I did hit my leg pretty bad, and now it's like 10 days later and it's still swollen and it hurts. And I thought, okay, who I can go to, I just want to get some kind of ointment or something, or some kind of antibiotic that can diminish the swelling, and the feeling of pressure. And so I look, and we have in Canada, one of our popular pharmacies is called Shoppers Drug Mart. Shoppers Drug Mart. You have them all over Canada. In any big town you go, there's a Shoppers Drug Mart, and they open 7 days a week, like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And they have a pharmacy inside, of course. And I walk inside here. I just wanted to ask them what would they recommend, And actually, they have a counter, and it says consultation. Okay, so ask them, and the lady says, "Can I see? Can I see your leg?" Okay, and so I raised the leg of my pants, showed her, and I guess she's just like a pharmacy technician, but maybe she's taking a course somewhere, but they do provide consultations, and that's all I wanted. I said, I need something where I don't need prescription, right? I said, I just want to keep the pain, the swelling down, and I don't want any inflammation there underneath. And I said, I even bought a knife, and I wanted to cut that. There's like a little heel, what do you call it, like a edema, hepatoma, and I thought there's like blood inside. I wanted to cut it open. I'm crazy, but I used some baby wipes, like I'm not that crazy, so to prevent infection, but I just couldn't do it. I did like 2 mini micro punctures, but I couldn't do a cut. Call me crazy. So and this girl says, no, you don't want to do that because you can cause infection. And so that's this last piece of news is that she gave me this extra strength. This is basically Advil, but it's I guess it's Canadian for Advil. It says ibuprofen liquid gel capsules. Fast and effective, relieves migraines, headaches, fever, muscle and joint pain. And I said, but I don't want to take it for the pain. I just don't believe in that stuff, Pain is good. I said, I don't want to kill the symptom. I don't want to treat the symptom. I want to treat the cause, the reason. So give me something that will help, get that blood. What the body does, it kind of like dissipates that blood under your skin that when you heat it, right? And she says, well, yeah, this is actually more to prevent inflammation, and she says just take it for 5 days, twice a day. So I hope that it'll help me fix this, and that I don't have to cut the leg off, because it's kind of like difficult to drive with only one leg because I have a manual transmission. Then I have to change my truck. It's just pain in the butt. Okay, and last piece of news, the package was waiting for me, has been waiting for me ever since I left Canada, when I loaded this big John Deere 450, and I decided to try. Finally, I wanted to do it for the past 3 years, but now it's finally warm, so I want to try those disposable coveralls. So I bought a box of Tyvek coveralls. So don't be surprised that in the next video I look like a brain surgeon, all in white, but wearing a black hat. Actually, I do have a white hat, but it's dirty now, like SERGEI DRATCHEV heavy haul, So, but yeah, these are white coveralls, and they're much cheaper than, let's say, jeans and a t-shirt, because those are constantly ruined by conditions on my work. And even cheapest jeans are like $20, and a t-shirt is like $5. That's 25 Canadian, whereas I can get a box of these coveralls. I think they're like $6 or $7 each, and of course it's bottom, like pants, and covers your your chest. So single piece. And so this is it. So yeah, tomorrow is truck day, and Thursday picking up a new load and make money. And also I already sent everything to my factoring company. I will be paid tomorrow for this load to Sarnia. So this is it. That's all I wanted to mention. Take care, and we'll continue. We'll pick up again Thursday when I load this excavator slash trencher slash weird machine. Bye.